Hey, today I wanna explain you something about the arrays in JavaScript. So arrays is one of the core principles, core objects in the JavaScript. It's basically the method. It's array is the object that allows you to describe some sequence of elements with the strict order. So you can arrange your elements, some data that should be structured in exact order, into the object, and you can work with that array with work with it as a object. So you can actually find something in it, add more data, remove some data from that array. So basically, this is your primary structure to define some sequence of your elements. So let's take a look how that might be look like. So basically in the code you can define your array as a new array construction, but mostly use just square brackets. So this means empty array with no data in it. So you can define initial data for your array by just putting your data and using the comma to actually split the elements. Like this will be first, second, third. So this will be 3 elements in our fruits array. To access some data from array, you can use the square brackets on existing array. So you see we have an array called fruits, and the fruits square brackets 0 means get the element by index 0. So index is the sequential number of your element in array, and it starts from the 0. So this basically will be apple, this will be orange, and this will be the plum. So this is how you can get some element from array. You can use the index. So to update something in the array, you can also use index and assign operator. So this will update our third element. You remember that we are starting from 0 to pear. So now our array will look like apple, orange, and pear. To add new element to array, the simple way is to use the index with the non-existent yet index. So you see we have a 0, 1, 2, and 3 index is not yet exist, and we are assigning to this not existing index lemon. So now we have 4 elements in our array: apple, orange, pear, and lemon. So this is how we can add something more to the array. Your arrays might contain any types of data inside. So for example, this is a string. This is object on the second place. So index number 0 will be string. Index number 1 will be object. Index number 2 will be true, boolean. And also you can save the functions to the array. So the function is also allowed to be saved to array. So any type you can put into array, and you can even mix them all together. So keep attention on that, because sometimes you might get like a action like unwanted to, probably you don't want to mix some different types into one array, but sometimes that happens. So keep the eye on that. So you can get some so you can actually assign some values as usual, assigned to the variables, and the functions also can be executed. So you see we are accessing the function with the index 3 and actually executing it. So this will actually grab the function that is located on the index 3, and we'll try to run that. So in case you're storing the functions, this will work. If you want to check if the variable that you got is the array or not, there is the special global object called array, and it has the method called isArray. So isArray returns you true or false, whatever your parameter that you pass to this method is array or not. So this is the simplest way to check if your if the variable that you're trying, if the variable is array or not. So to modify the array structure, you can also use the pop and push methods. So pop method removes last element from array and returns it to you. So let's see how that looks like in the let's run this code. So you see we have a fruits, apple, orange, and pear inside. We are doing the fruits pop, and it prints a pear since it's grabbed the last element and return it to us. We can do the same by doing just like this. This will totally be the same. So we're getting the last element from array, and then we can work with it. And notice that our array now is only 2 elements inside. Inside is apple and the orange. So you see the pear is no longer part of array. This is how the pop works. And the push. So push is actually similar stuff. You can push something to the array, and it will add value that you're trying to push to the end of array. So this will actually grab it and add to the end. So you see our fruits are now again the pear. So if we'll try the lemon here, so you see it's attached to the end of array like it. So this is pop and push. This is methods to work with the end of the array, and you can still work with the start of array. So grab something from the start. So you see we have fruits, the same array, but if we are doing the shift method on it, we are calling the fruits.shift. So this removes the first element from the array and returns it to you. So this is basically the same as you would just do like a let first equals fruits shift. And here we are seeing this apple. So we are removing the first element and returning this as a result of this shift operation. The fruits now will be only 2 elements. So you see apple is no longer in the array. We just have an orange and the pear. And unshift is a similar method. Unshift is similar method to the shift, but it's attaches something to the beginning of your array. So unshift will grab the apple and put it to the beginning of your array. So we are actually restored it back. If we will put the lemon into unshift, so you see we are actually put the lemon on the first place, and now our array looks like lemon, orange, and pear. So this unshift removes first element, shift removes first element, and unshift attaches the first element to beginning. So and all your elements now shifted, like move it to the one to the right. So they're like a little plus bond. So and you can also add multiple elements at once. So if you will push, use the push method and pass couple values here, so they will be both attached to the end. And unshift will it also can be called with multiple values, and that's both will be attached to the beginning. So now our elements our fruits looks like a pineapple, lemon, apple, orange, and a peach. So we attach 2 elements to beginning and attach 2 elements to the end. So an apple remains in the middle. So basically your array is the object. So it still can be all rules of objects are still applicable to array, and you can modify any property, attach add new properties, modify any property. What's the difference with usual objects? That your structured data, like ordered part, is use indexes, but you can actually use index that not yet exist, like far away from existing. Like you see, we have an empty array and we are assigning element to the position 100, and the element with the index 100 will be 5. So this is absolutely valid in JavaScript. So if we will run that, so you see we have a huge array with empty values. It's 100 empty values, and 5 will be attached to this with the element index 100, and the age is also there. So you see you can patch your array with some even unstructured data. So that's because the actually arrays are the objects. There are no different type of array in the JavaScript. They're just object, usual object, and the object that is actually array. So that's it. And each array has a special property. So since it's an object, so it also has a property called length. So length allows you to see how many elements do you have in the array right now. So for example, the empty array will return, the length for empty array will return you 0. So that means 0 elements in the fruits array. And if we will push 3 elements, now our length is 3. So just pretty clear. Just 3 elements means length is 3. But don't be confused with index. So we have a length is 3, but if we want to access third element, we still need to be keep in mind that we are starting from 0. So basically, when you are trying to access third element, you should be using keep in mind that you're starting from the 0. So let me show you one trick. So if you want to access last element of your array, you can use a length -1. So that will get a tree number, like a number 3 as a length of your array, and doing -1 will convert the length to the index. So that will be 2, and 2 is 2 index is corresponds with the C in our array element array. C element. So using length -1 might be useful to access the last element. So you can actually modify the value of the length as well. So, but it's unsafe. I do not recommend you to do that. But JavaScript allows. You can use the. So you see, we have a empty array. We are pushing 3 elements. Now the length is 3, and we can modify our length to make it 1000. So you see that now our length is 1000, and when we are pushing one more element to the array, the length becomes 1001. So you see that's pretty unclear, and there's some crazy stuff. I do not recommend you to modify your length directly, since this is absolutely not obvious. That's what you want to do actually. So keep in you can, but it doesn't mean you should modify your length. Just keep an eye if you see this code. It's probably something weird. And one of the important stuff is how to actually iterate over the array. So Iterating means going one by one, accessing every value, every element in your array in a sequence. So actually, the first element from array you will get the first, then the second, then the third, fourth, and so on. So iterating means like get every element of array one by one. So the simplest way is just to use the regular for loop with the defining some variable I that will be check if the I already less than length. If not, just I plus plus. So that will be 0, then 2, then 0, 1, 2, and that's it. Because the 3 is not less than length, and this when the loops is stopped. So this like a regular your loop, but using the fruits length. So if we'll run that, you see we are accessed one by one every value in the array. So apple, orange, and the pear. So you can be sure that they will be executed, that you will get your elements as they are present in the array. So this will be ordered loop. Other way is to use the for of. This is a little shorter. So we are using for let fruit of fruits. So whatever, you can use any name here. Name here is not like a strict here. So you can use whatever you like more, A, B, fruits, whatever. So this is just a variable name. And of is important this method especially it's like a form or loop, especially for arrays. And it allows you to actually do the same, access every value of every element of your array, like apple, orange, and plum. But in this case, you won't be having the index. So you're getting the value of first, second, third element, but actually you don't know the index. So is this 0? Second, for whatever. So you don't have an index here. In this case, I will represent your index. So, and we are using these square brackets to actually access value in array by index. So in this case, it's shorter, but will not give you index. So you can use that if you don't care about index. If you just want to like, if you don't need to use the index. So do not use the for in loop, because the for in is for objects, and since the array is also object, it can have more than it can have more keys than you might expect. So for example, with the simple array like apple, orange, and pear, it works fine. So it will iterate fine. But if someone will assign some new property to your array, like array sum now equals ops, so we'll just patch it our array, added new property, like it's not index property, it's some string property with some value. For in will actually get even this oops as well. So for in is not recommended to use until you know what you're doing. So usually if you want to just access elements of your array, use for of. So that's the difference. Other way to iterate over your array is to use for each. So this is a special method that exists on every array. For each will take your function that you're defined as a parameter. So you see this is all the function call. So we are calling the function and passing new function as a parameter. So this function will be applied to each element of the array, and this function will be supplied with the value, index, and the whole array that you actually now iterating. So let's see how it works. So it's actually pretty clear, but let's add a lot more. So you see the function is called for each element of the array, and we are on the first iteration, we are getting apple 0 and whole array, orange 1, again whole array, and peer, 2, and array. So this is third array is just like showing what we are actually now working on. And if you're trying to and for each doesn't returns you something, so for each doesn't give you result, it will be undefined, and it ignores if you're returning something from this function that you're provided. If you're trying to return something, this result will be ignored. It will not change your array. Result will be undefined, so for each doesn't give you any results, and ignores if you're trying to return something from for each. And if you actually need to work with the result of iteration, you can use the map function. So the map function is close to for each. It also accepts the function as the parameter and allows you to return something from it. So when you're returning something from this function, this will be used to construct new array. So if we will run this code, so you see our array was 10, 30, and 100. So we are getting these elements one by one, 10, 30, and 100. And we are returning plus 10 to each element of our array. So the result of the map function will be new array with the values that you are actually returning from the function here. So you see our new array is with this plus 10 to each member of the first array. So this will be new array, and the old array is still unchanged. So you see we are having new array with modified values and the old array untouched. So this is basic methods about how access values of the array, how to iterate, and so on. And the other methods that might be useful for you are searching something inside the array and actually working with some values inside your array, like filtering and so on. So the first function that will be useful for you is the searching. So fruits, you see we have a same fruits array here, and the method called index of. The first that I want to show you is the index of. Index of starts from the index that you are provided in a second place, but actually optional. You can ignore that if you want. This is second parameter is optional. If you will not provide something here, it will just start from the beginning. So, and the index of looks through all your array, searches inside your array, and returns you index of element that matches this first parameter. So we'll try to run that. Index. So you see it returns us 2 because plum located on the index 2. This is 0, first, second. So 2, we are searching for plum, and it will return us index of a plum in the array. If we are searching for something that doesn't exist in our array, it returns us -1. So you can check if -1, that means we don't have that in this array. So that's returns us like negative value. Similar is the last index of. So the last index of is the similar for index of, but it starts from the right to the left. So it searches from the end to beginning, not from the beginning to the end. So sometimes if your array is really huge and has a lot of values there, and you want to like optimize your search, you might want to use this last index of to actually iterate like search something, but starting from the end, if you know that this value will be probably located in the end, and to not waste time on going from 4 elements starting from beginning. So you just iterate from that, and it is again returns you index of the element. So, but sometimes it might be more quicker to start from the end. Includes. Function includes applied to the array will return you true or false whatever the array has the value provided. So we are looking for orange, and the orange is located on the second place, but we don't care about the place. We just checking if array has it or not. So you have a true if the array has orange, and you will have a false if it doesn't have your something that you're trying to check. So includes verify if something is included into array. Notice that all the methods, this includes, last index, index of, they are used the triple equal, so this strict comparison with the type. So if, for example, our functions, our values are numbers, and we are trying to check by string, it will give us false. But actually, with a number, it works fine. Keep an eye that it uses strict comparison by type and by value. Okay, let's move forward. The find and find index. Find is a special method on the array that allows you to search for some condition. So you can check whatever the so you will get the value, you will get the element and the value for if you will return, it will find you return your first item for which this function is returned true. So it might be many elements that are matched this function, but only first will be you will receive the first one here. So this function will be applied again to the all elements of your array, and which element first returned true here, you should return true from this function. Which first element returned true, you will get this element as the result of your function. So if we will run this code and now look what's the actually we get in the user. So we got this first user because we are actually checking if item ID equals to 1. If we will check, for example, item ID equals 3, we will get the third user because only this element of array is matched our find function. So use the find function to search inside your array and return the value of matched element. And find index works similarly, but returns you the index of array. So instead of the value, you will have a number, but actually then can be used to access your element by index. So user, you see we are got the 2, index number 2, and we are then using this index to search inside the array. So find index works similarly, but returns you index instead of value. Sum function is used to check if at least one element in your array matches provided condition. So you're passing again the function that will be applied to every element of your array. If at least one element of your array returns true for a condition, you return some condition as a result of this function, and if at least one function is returned true, you will have a true as the result of your sum function. So how that works? So we are calling the function sum on our users array and checking if at least one user is less than 18 years, 18 age less than 18. So and it will return you single true or false if at least one user has less than 18 years. So we don't have a users less than 18. We have a 21, 43, and 30 some, 37, and so this variable will be false because no users less than 18. So this is a good way to check if at least one element matches your condition. But there is also every function. Every function is similar, but it will return you true or false whatever every element of your array matches provided condition. So we are saying we want to know if all elements of if all our users are greater than 18 years. And actually all our users are greater than 18 years. We have 21, 43, and 37. And the all users more than 18 will be true because function applied to every element return true, function return true for every element, and so there is no users less than 18, so every element is more than 18 years. So this is actually a good way to check if all elements are matching your condition. Function called every. And the filter function. So filter function is used to somehow exclude elements from the array that doesn't match your condition. So let's check how that works. So we are again calling filter function and passing passing function as a parameter, and we should return true or false whatever we want to include this element. This it will be applied to every element again, and we should return true or false whatever we want to include this element into new array or not. So the filter function returns you a new array, and this array will contain all elements from the old array that have you return it true. So for example, we want to keep only those users that age is 33. So you see, we are checking item age equals 43. It returns us true or false, and it will return us true for these two first users. And the third user is actually doesn't match our condition. So the new array that is returned from filter function, users with age 43, will have a length 2 and will contain two elements, John and Peter. So the third one is excluded. So the filter function is useful to exclude something that doesn't match your condition. So you can like throw away something that doesn't match your condition. But keep an eye that this is new array. The filter returns you new array. It doesn't modify your old array. So if you will check console log and the old array here, so our old array is still the same. We don't modify our old array. This is good. This is actually more useful. So you can check, you can still, you do not modify old array, you return a new array with only those values that match your condition. So this is it for array sorting and the filtering. And let's check some more advanced stuff. So Splice is super like wide, broad broadly used method like Splice. Don't be confused with the name. There is this slice and splice method. So the splice takes 3 parameters: index, how many elements you want to delete. So the first element is the starting position from where you want to delete elements. Second parameter is how many elements you want to delete starting from the position, from the index that you provided as the first parameter. And the third and fourth and n elements, like actually unlimited rest unlimited parameters. This will be new elements that you wanna put on the place of this deleted elements, and it returns you array of removed elements. So how that looks like? Imagine we have an array called I study JavaScript. So when we want to splice from the first index, starting from the first index, we want to remove one element. So this will return us. So array now becomes. You notice that it modifies your array. So array now is modified. Splice is modifies array. It doesn't return a new. It modifies array and removes element with index 1. It's a study. So it goes to element number with index 1 and removes one element. So you see, I now have an array called I JavaScript. So if we will check what it returns, so you see I have a new, you have like a filtered one element from the array. If we want to check what it returns, so Splice returns you what it actually removed. So only one element matched our parameters. It's a study. So the Splice returned it to us. You see the rest is now equals to the study. Actually, it's an array as well. So, and how it can be used? You can pass a 0 to parameter. It will mean that start from the beginning. So we call in Splice index we want to start working is the 0. 3 is means we want to remove 3 first elements, and third and fourth parameters will be placed instead of this removed elements. So the result will be our array now becomes, instead of I study JavaScript right now, will be now let's dance right now. So we removed 3 first elements and replaced them with 2 elements. Let's dance. So you see, that's actually we replaced some elements with the others. And you can also remove without replacing. So you call in a splice, starting from the 0 index, remove 2 elements, and you will get the array called that will contain I study, because we are started from 0 index. We are removed 2 first elements I study and got them as a result. So I already showed that. So this removed will be result what you actually removed. So that's it. And you can also pass the 0 as the second parameter. So you see, in case we are calling the splice with the 0 as the second parameter, it will be in the following: starting from index 2. So this is 1, 0, 1, 2, and insert the remove 0 elements that means actually remove nothing, and then insert complex language. So the result will be I study complex language JavaScript. So this allows you to just put something into the middle of your array. So, and don't be confused, there is other method called slice. Slice, little simpler. It gets two indexes, start and end. So you provide two indexes, start and end, and will return you new array that is with all matched elements. So for example, we wanna from the first index to third index return us all elements. So the result of this function will be B and C. So we are skipped. We are started from 0. It doesn't include started from 1. Doesn't include 1. And stop at index 3. So we have got B and C as a result. And also we can provide negative indexes. So this will be mean start from the end. Give us two elements starting from the end, D, C. So we now have in the so you can also extract something from the end. And notice that slice method does not modify your existing array. It returns you a new array as the result. So your old array still A, B, C, D. You just create a new array from the content of your first array. Concat method. Concat method means merge two array together. So we have an array with the 1 and 2 numbers, and we call a concat with the 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 will be included to merge it to the end of the first array, and you will have a new resulting array with the 4 elements in it. So we will check what happens. Let's say new array. Here we will log the new array, and if we will check what happens with our old array. So you see the old array remains untouched, and concat returns you new array with the merge with the old array, and the result will be new array. So it's just adds some values to the end of your first array. And you can also provide multiple parameters here. So you can provide two arrays, for example, concat with this and with this. So when the result will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also you can merge with the values that are not arrays. So for example, if you will call concat and will provide some values just as parameters, they will be also correctly handled. So this is how concat works: is to combine two arrays together. Sort method allows you to reorder your elements, and notice that it actually modifies your array. So we have array 1 to 15, and we call a sort, and it returns 1, 15, and 2. And this might be like something, wow, what is happening right now? And it's actually how the JavaScript works. So by default, it compares, sort method compares, so how it detects that it should reorder your elements. It tries to convert your values of your array to the string and compares string one with another. And this uses this Unicode tables, and whatever symbol is upper, it means it's greater and should place it to the top. And whatever symbol is less, so it will be moved to the to reorder it to the end. So two if 2 more than 15 is equals true, so because of that, it's rewarded to some non like numeric order. And to avoid that, you can provide your own function to the sort. So sort accepts your own algorithm of sorting. To place element to say this element is greater, then you will get two elements a and b. It will be it can be called multiple times. This function can be called multiple times, and it will actually, and you should return 1 if this a more than b. If a less than b, you should return less, some negative number, and if they are equal, you can return 0. So this will tell method sort how it should reorder your elements. And now it works correctly. So 1, 2, 15. So actually, as it is, it's actually now reorders them by their numeric value, not trying to convert to the strings. And basically, you can try to just the simple form of this function compare numeric will be like it. A, B parameters. We are trying to subtract B from the A, and so it will mean if A and B the same, we will get a 0. If A more than B, you will get a positive number, and if B is more than A, you will get a negative number. So you basically will have the same as here. Reverse means flip your array, so the last element become first, and so on. So for example, 1 2 3 4 5 after reverse will be 5 4 3 2 1. Pretty simple. Just flip your array, reverse it to this, start from the end. Split and join. So the split is the function to that will be applied to the strings. So we have a string called 1 2 3. It's content of the string 1 2 3, and we wanna transform this string to the array. We can use a split, and we are saying by what we wanna split. So we are saying we wanna split by comma and empty space. So result of our split function will be array that will have 3 elements without a comma, without the empty space, and you will have a 1 2 3 array, just 3 elements in the array. And similar join, if you wanna combine elements of array together into one string, you can use the join and pass what will be like use it to separate elements in the string. So we are for example, in this case, our new array will be our new string as the result of join function will be 1 2 3. You see, so split is to convert string to array, and the join is to convert array to the string. So that's basically it. This is the basics of arrays in the JavaScript, with some examples of useful methods that you might be working. And leave your comments, ask your questions. Thank you. Bye bye.